Welcome back to Pigment Mixology. Our next task is...
What's in your kit? Tell us your favourite brow, eye and lip pigments. And we've got them prepared already here on the table for us.
Shall we start with brows?
Yep, let's start with brows.
So choosing a brow pigment I think is really difficult because I love them all. So I've gone for one of the lighter range and one of the darker range that I like to use, and I sometimes mix these together as well. So the first one is Ibiza, and this is a cool dark blonde. Nice used on its own. I'd use this on a blonde client. And then the second colour is Paris, and again I'd use this neat on its own on a darker haired client. I love this because it's a medium to dark brown, but it's still on a cooler scale as well. But these colours mixed together in different ratios work really well together. So if I have a client that wants a cool blonde but it's not quite dark enough, I'll add a drop of Paris into that and it just gives it a little bit more depth.
One of the greatest tips as well, Sarah, with these is that whenever we're working, we will always add the lightest colour first. We don't add the darkest colour, then you can see that the ratio. So always add the lightest colour into your pot first. So my two colours are completely different to Sarah's. Mine are Madrid and Milan. So Madrid, it's a little bit darker than Ibiza, and I always call it a universal colour. If a client wants a little bit more colour than just a soft ash blonde, this is the colour I will always go to, which is Madrid. It's still a cool colour, but not as cool as Ibiza. And so Milan. I love Milan.
I love Milan as well.
So I always choose Milan as my first choice for if I want to have darker brows. If it's not dark enough, I'll add a drop of Paris to it. But I often find that Milan, when a client comes back after 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, that it may be dark enough. So depending on what skin type I've put the colour in. So it may be dark enough and it's a little bit warm on the skin, but once it's healed, it's a lot cooler in the skin. So these two colours are my go-to colours to start with whenever I first get my clients come through the door.
Shall we move on to eyes?
Absolutely.
So with eyes, I tend to do a lot of lash enhancements or invisible eyeliners. So I'm generally working within the lashes. So my go-to colour is Tokyo because it's pure carbon. So with the pure carbon, you get pure black. It goes in really, really easily. 15 minutes and your lash enhancement's done. That's how it heals as well. It's a true black.
So I've got two colours because I do a little bit more shaded eyeliners. So I'm actually using Rio de Janeiro, and that's a carbon as well as the inorganic pigments mixed together. The reason for using this is because when I'm working outside the eyelashes themselves, when I'm working just on the lids, I know it's safe, that iron oxide, so I'm not just using pure carbon. I also use Cape Verde, which is like a soft shade of green, and I do add some Rio de Janeiro into Cape Verde just to give it a little bit more strength.
It blends nicely then.
It does,
as well.
it's beautiful, yes, definitely. And I love to add some of that colour on the top of my black and underneath as well, the eyes underneath.
Nice.
So they're my two colours as well for eyes, especially when you're looking at hazel eyes or the brownie colour eyes. I don't use these for blue eyes, but for the hazel colour or greeny tone eyes, I think they look beautiful.
And finally, lips.
Lips?
Well, I sort of love every colour in a lip range, and I think it's difficult to choose a favourite lip colour because there's so many of them, and for every client coming through they all want a different result. If someone's wanting a bright pop of colour, my favourite colour would be Monaco. This is a beautiful orangey, pinky, corally shade. I'll just test it on my arm and then you can see. But the reason why I like this is it's quite dense. It's got titanium in there, so it's good for if somebody's wanting more of a lipstick coverage rather than a sheer coverage. And you can see it's quite orange, but in skin when it heals with a lovely pink hue, more of a coral shade. So what you find, especially in your cooler coloured lips, the orange that's in there, when it balances out that coolness, you get a lovely pinky tone, pinky coral tone. It's just gorgeous.
It's beautiful, and you do some beautiful lips too. So
thank you.
So I've been really greedy, and because Sarah only chose one colour,
I stuck to the the rules.
Yes, but I decided I wanted to break rules, as usual. So I've chosen 3 colours, and the reason why I've chosen 3 colours is the 3 colours are in our sand range. And our sand range is our natural range, what we choose to look for a lip base. One of the reasons is because I do a lot of reconstruction work, and I do a lot of guys. So I'm going to show you the very natural lip tone colours. So this colour is San Pedro, and San Pedro has got very mauvey tones, and if I want to make San Pedro a little bit softer, a little bit lighter, a little bit more natural like a lip tone, I can use San Diego. More mauvey tones as well in San Diego, but mixing the two together I can create as well any natural lip tone colour. And if I want the colour to be a little bit darker, a little bit more depth, then one of the colours, which is called San Francisco, looks very, very dark, but I can achieve anything with San Francisco.
It's a good darkener in general, isn't it?
It is a good darkener, and this is a great colour to put on guys, believe it or not. And some of the times I dilute it down so it's not as intense, but just a small amount of the San Francisco, I'm still in the natural lip tone colours. So they're very mauve, very cool, and so I would not be using these colours over a lip what's got a lot of colour in there, high density of colour. But if I'm lifting a lip, if I'm actually doing reconstruction, these are the tones that I actually work with.
Completely different. Completely different.
Completely different.